Hi there, folks. Simon here. Welcome back to the 2024 March Intermediate TAC Open. This is the game between MehrGills and Spawnoza in the semifinals. This is, in fact, game 2. In game 1, we saw MehrGills win as black in a epic struggle for flats there at the end. It was a pretty solid game. So really looking forward to see this game 2, as I imagine it will also be a solid game of equal skill level here. So, just like every other game in this tournament, these games are played on a 6x6 board with a 15-minute time limit and a 10-second increment, meaning that each player will get 10 seconds at the end of their turn. These games are played with 2 Komi as well, meaning that 2 gets added to Black's flat count score at the end of the game if the game does not end in a road. This is the semifinals, meaning that whoever wins this match will go on to the finals. MehrGills was victorious in game 1, so if he wins in this game 2, he will move on to the finals in this tournament. If, however, Spawnoza does win in this game 2, he will be pushing this into a blitz tiebreaker. Blitz tiebreaker means that there is a 3-minute timer, 5-second increment, and otherwise it is the same. So it is a much quicker and fast-paced game of tag. Very difficult and a very different skill set. So we'll see if Spawnoza can push this into that blitz tiebreaker, or if MehrGills can go ahead and just take himself straight to the finals. But without any further ado, let's jump right into this Game 2 semifinals match between Spawnoza and MehrGills. Alright, we see the A1 drop. And F6 going for opposite corners, going straight into that Knight's opening for MehrGills. Spawnoza playing off to the side at C3. This is where Mehr is going to continue on. I really like a capstone here at D3, but I don't think he's going to go for that. He probably will drop a flat, but I really like a capstone at D3 in this position. Goes for the flat. Let's see here. Capstone drop from Black. Strong capstone position for Black there. Really good spot. White's in a bit of a worse position here. Probably wants to play off at F2, something like that, to make it so that Black can't go for that horizontally. Does play at F2. Black likely going to be dropping at F1. No, playing up at F3, okay. Not too sure about that, but potentially committed to that now. I'm not sure if white F1 is going to be good here. Nope, white plays instead at F4. Yeah, white's building for that vertical, but also has the beginnings of a horizontal here. Black the same way. Building for the horizontal, it has the beginnings of a vertical. The vertical being the C2, C3. But I think he's mainly focused right now on getting that horizontal in play. Now, if I'm white here, I want to make sure that this horizontal is in check from Black, so I probably want to drop at F1. It makes it so I can control his anchor point to this right half of the board. He'd be forced to basically capture down with F3 onto F2 to get that right half anchor point. And yeah, probably doesn't want to do that. Ooh, capstone drops instead. All right. Capstone drops there at B3. Interesting placement. Black may decide to go down at B1 here. or maybe c1 to sort of feign that you're going to go for that vertical when you can just play at b1 next. But okay, goes for the c1. I don't think white's going to fall for it. I think you'll know that, just dropping a flat at c1 is going to interrupt that horizontal a lot more. Yep, that's what he does. Black potentially filling in here at b2 would make a lot of sense. Yep, does so. This is where it gets a little tricky for white. Who plays at a2? Hmm. What is the play here for black? I mean, maybe f1 for black. Yeah, does play it. It's like I'm psychic. But yeah, f1 works well here because you're establishing more for that anchor point on the right-hand half of the board. White can do like a b1 left to kind of mess you up in terms of your left-hand anchor point. But black can go ahead and make attack threat here, placing it e1. Be a pretty strong position there, but instead plays a flat up at d4. This is giving momentum away to white. White's able to play at a3 here to make their own threat before black's able to make theirs. And I don't think that's too bad at all. Instead, white plays up at b4. Interesting play. Not going for the a3 attack threat, building up that positioning first. Black moves their capstone up, surprisingly. White blocking off that vertical, but also setting up for a horizontal. Interesting play from both players. It's not going where I thought it would go. They're both playing for completely different lines than I was expecting. White could... I mean, white probably doesn't want to make the a4 placement because it'll get black to capture right with c5. Hmm. d2. I mean, that does work, kind of. It's sort of delaying because if you wanted to cut off that vertical at some point with the d2, black's b2 can just capture right back. Black goes ahead and plays up at d6, makes the attack threat. Unconcerned with that play from white. Now this is where it's interesting because white's d2 left could be a ploy to get white's capstone into the mix and to threaten the stack at c2 that's created after a capture war there. That's something I could see happening, but instead brings the capstone over first. Now this is where you likely see the e2 left happen because that renews the threat. Either that or goes ahead and does the c5 right. Black probably thinking about how to convert this. I mean, black still has some options here for the horizontal along the bottom. I'm not sure why he switched to the vertical in the first place even. But that capstone now is going to cause some problems, I'd say. The white one, that is. But it's easy to get sort of tunnel visioned in on a threat one direction and not switch over, not convert to a different direction, even when that might be the better play. Just because sometimes you just get really, really stuck in the threat that you were making at the time. And it just doesn't quite work. For this, it looks like that may be what's going on, but this play actually does work towards the horizontal and the vertical here. This is not a bad play. It's not a bad play. I like this one because it works towards both. What do you do here as white? I mean, this isn't a threat from black, so white can make a threat here. If white makes a threat with like a4, I don't think that's a good play. I think that messes them up really badly and gets them in a situation that, if it isn't Tinue, is really dang close. Because it'll cause c5 right, which will be attack threat from black. White will need to stop that. And then if black plays at d1 after that, it's the horizontal line. And yeah, it just gets really, really tricky there after that point. So white doesn't want to play a4 for sure. What they do want to play is uncertain. Maybe white plays d1 here. That might work. White would then be building towards their own vertical threat. d1 f5 would be a vertical threat with the f2 left capture. Or white could set up a placement at e5 so that if the c5 right happens, e5 is there to recapture it. Don't know how good that is, though. This is a tricky spot here. Tricky spot. Goes for the e5, so he is playing for that that protection spot. Now as black, it's pretty tempting for me if I were black to play at d1 here. It works for both. It's a good flat position. It feels pretty solid to me. He's taking his time here to think about the move. Probably wasn't expecting the e5 placement. Also, take a look at the board at this point. We talked about it in game one. We're talking about it now. Move 15. The only captures that have occurred are capstone captures. No flat on flats. Which is about to change right now. We're about to see a flat on flat capture. And there it is. Captures right with a2. This stops the threat for now. But does black just capture left with c2 now? That would be tempting. Tempting. Oh, it's tricky. Yeah, I feel like c2 left isn't bad here. If white does something like b1 right afterwards to mess up your horizontal threat there along the bottom, you still have that stack there on b2 that you can spread up above towards b4 to cut off their horizontal that they're working towards. You'd still have your same vertical line that you're looking at. Yeah, I don't think that's bad at all. You could even fill back in at b1 after that. So yeah, I think c2 left is a solid play here. I don't see much else that I would want to do in this position. Oh, instead captures right with c5, making the vertical tack threat surprising. White capturing left with their e5 placement, just as they had planned to do. Now, I don't think... All right, what's he gonna do here, though? That's the question. Does he bring the d6 down? And then once he brings d6 down, what does he do about the wall that's inevitably dropped on c5 or e5 or maybe even d6? Or does black go for something completely different, like c2 left? Oh, drops the wall now. So white can capture up onto d6 with that stack. Whether it be the whole stack or part of the stack. Keeping that partially out of his reach. Or trying to see if white could benefit from ignoring that, letting the wall take it and doing something else. I'm not sure that they can, because if they do something else, it's likely going to fall into that 5 line, in which case the wall is going to be able to spread left or right to interrupt whatever is on 5. So it might be the most beneficial here to just capture up with d5, maybe 2d5 plus to capture up. That is a lot of liabilities, though, and that is not where you want to be. You don't want to give that many liabilities away for sure. You could do something like a4, and then when the wall comes over, you bring the capstone up onto c4. Okay, I see what they're doing with the b3. I was thinking about that myself, kind of setting this up for the vertical on that side. But I don't know if that has enough teeth. Because if that wall comes right onto d5, anything you're building toward in the vertical direction can get captured by that wall stack and interrupted. White is sitting at about 2 minutes more in time than Spawnoza right now. MehrGills, again, playing a bit quicker in this game, just like in game 1. Wall captures. What does white do? This is not a threat. White does play there. So if black wants to interrupt that, they'll have to give away their drawbridge threat opportunity in order to spread to the left. Okay, that's true. And if they do that, they will, if they wanted to, have the range on that stack to spread down to A2 or B2. But this is interesting. We see an A1 right here to stop the threat instead. This creates a horizontal threat for black while cutting off that vertical from white. Now, this is not a... Yeah, you needed a wall there. A wall was absolutely necessary. If you dropped a flat, that might have been it. It would have been close, at least. Yeah, wall is good here. Black definitely wants to get that B1 away from the wall, though. Because if that wall catches B1, they're able to spread upwards, or spread to the right, for either really solid flat count differential moves or spread to the right for a drawbridge threat. So definitely want to either keep that stack away from the wall or make it so that wall can't do anything once it's done it. So black is throwing their own wall down to capture over onto B2 to interrupt this vertical threat, but also make some solid positive flat count differential moves with an upward spread there. Could also be placing at A2 on the following turn for a drawbridge tack threat. A white here, I was going to say could play over it like A4, A5, A3, make that horizontal line a little bit stronger to be able to do some work with that in the near future. It looks like there's Tinue for black is what Tones is saying in the chat here. Let's take a look at what that is. Tinue for black here is... I believe it's capturing onto D2. Is that right? Capturing onto D2? So like D1 plus? Yeah, D1 plus has been Tinue for a while, I think. Yeah, yep. That's right. Good spot, Tones. I didn't see that. Did not see that. That looks to be gone now. But if C2 right happens, that's another tack threat. Then the wall comes up onto D2, and black can't smash because it leads to a road for white. Okay. Yeah. Dismantled it. So black missed that Tinue. Ooh, that's rough. We'll see if he can pull it together, but black looks behind in terms of material. Let's take a count here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 for black, which is 10 with the 2 Comey. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for white. Black does have 1+3 move available to them, though. So not completely lost there. Black now down 4 minutes in time, 4.5 minutes. That is a big buffer there for MehrGills. Let's see, if I'm black, what am I going for here? Going to be really difficult to make any sort of threat. Can't move that capstone. That one's blocked. Okay, now the capstone is unblocked. So now you can do some stuff with the capstone. Now that you've spread that out. That white capstone's in a pretty solid position here. Not sure if you do want to move that or not. Does capture over onto B3. Now, this has two purposes. This is to capture onto that stack, which is nice, but also to threaten that wall on B4. But the wall threatening goes away if black just drops a flat at B2, because white won't be able to smash that because black will be making attack threat. So wall at B2, not bad here. Or no, sorry, flat at B2, not bad here. Does give white the opportunity to make a positive flag count differential, which is not something that black wants here, but keeps them from smashing that B4 stack, which, if they're going for it, that would be attack threat. And would give them 2 captives that they would otherwise not have. And so stopping any sort of horizontal threat after the smash on B4 would mean that white would then be free to recapture the big stack that they left behind of black's pieces and still get a net positive out of that transaction. So, yeah, black's in a bit of a pickle here. I would want to do a B2 placement here to just get that in there. Make your threat. Once the threat is made, it's hard to say how white will respond. Maybe with like a D2 left or something. And if that's the case, then black can spread down with the capstone smash on D1 and go for a road that way. But if the D1 stack moves right onto E1, then you're going to see a few more problems with that. So black making a threat. White's got to respond to this. How is the question here? That D1 stack is looking mighty juicy at the moment. White comes down to block it with the capstone. Interesting. Makes the positive flag count differential move. Stops the threat. Gets the capstone in line to spread to the right if necessary to stop any sort of vertical line that could happen, which is nice. Black still has some teeth to these threats, though those teeth are slowly falling out. White has some stuff available to them, but nothing immediate. Like they've got some foundations there, but they haven't quite built anything out. Lots of potential. Feels like I'm talking about like a home investment opportunity. Let's It's a fixer-upper. All right, so black drops at c3. Not anything approaching attack threat at this point, but it is filling in, sort of denying that space from white. I'm not sure that they would want that anyway. Not sure what that placement actually does for black here, but it might do something that I'm just not following yet. Maybe trying to set up another pin to keep that capstone from being able to move around. White placement at A3. That looks like it is setting up for a vertical around the left of that wall, perhaps. You've also got that C1 stack that can get thrown to C3 to try and make a connection there in the horizontal, but you really don't have any way to capture onto D4 and maintain that threat. Black spots that, drops at A5. If this were to just continue on, everybody is building towards threats, but doesn't really get a chance to make them because there's keeps on blocking with just flat placements. Let's see what that would do with flat count score. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, 10. So, 12 for black is what they would have with the Comey. 12 for white. So, white looks to be potentially lower on reserves, maybe the same amount. But white is going to be making the next move here, putting them ahead by 1 flat. Ooh, white did the thing. Made the smash. This is attack threat. How will black respond? Will they respond with the wall down? I don't think they should. Or will they respond with something else, like the capstone up? Or will they respond with something like capturing on the right-hand side, F3 plus, for example, or D4 right? All of those do something. The A5 minus doesn't work because A3 plus just replaces it. Capstone does come up. Okay. Now from here, does white recapture onto that B3 stack? Because that is a lot of flats there. Recapturing onto B3, I don't think is a bad move. Okay, does go for that. Let's see what that carry limit is. Carry limit is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so if they move that stack, they've got to leave behind the final white flat at the bottom. So they are able to move and make the attack threat that way. Black spots it, drops a wall, blocks that road threat from happening. White's making another road threat at the moment, spreading down. Black throws the capstone left, stops the threat from happening. Black is down below a minute on the clock. Of course they're moving quickly. I was wondering why they were going so fast. That's why. Looks like that line of threats has been halted. White no longer able to continue making those. But has the damage been done? That's the question right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. White's at 11 flats. Black's at 12 with the Comey. White puts themselves slightly further behind yet again, dropping a wall. However, this is threatening that C4 stack. To be able to make a positive flat count differential move after the fact. Black cannot smash that wall right now, or it will lead to white winning with a road. So white's going to be making either a +2 or a +3 move here on the following turn. Looks like a wall drops. So black wants to smash that, is basically what he's telegraphing here. I want to smash that wall. And does not want white to win with a road after the fact. White is letting him smash the wall if he so desires. And black does smash the wall. What's he going for? Is he going to like make a hard cap on B4 and then place at B1 to go for this vertical road, which would be wild and incredibly gutsy, but I guess could potentially work. The only problem, oh, nope, captures over, makes another tack threat. What's his play? What is the play? So the wall's got to come up onto B3, right? Oh, no, he's... Cap spreads left? I did not expect that move. Not at all. Ooh, what is going on? I was expecting another wall to drop, but instead he threw the capstone left. Now, MehrGills still has over 5 minutes on the clock. Spawnoza is down at 35 seconds, which means he was down to 25 when he made that move. What is going through his head? So white just drops a flat at C4. Can't exactly see it from the angle, but white drops a flat at C4. Black comes up with the wall right away. White can make a threat by dropping a flat at C5, but it gives a +3 flat count differential move available to black. If he does that, white instead drops at B1, knowing that they've got 12 flats on the count. Black's got 12 flats on the count, but white is placing first. Black has a positive flat count differential move, a +2 move. White has a +2 move. I can see this working out in white's favor here. Going for flats right now. White has abandoned the idea of going for a road, I believe. Black spreads left. White can keep placing, I believe. 3, 4, 5. $12 for white. $14 for black. But white does have the +2 move with the capstone. Ooh, I see something sneaky. White's trying to set up a road here. If they get E5 placed, they're able to throw that capstone up, leaving a white flat behind on C5 and then the capstone on C6 to make that road horizontal. It would still work if white drops at E5 here. And I don't think they're defending against any roads. So yeah, E5 totally works in terms of making that road threat. I would not expect Spawnoza to actually see that because he is on 22 seconds. So, oh, the flat is dropped. Does Spawnoza see it? Will he spot the road? It's tricky because white's leaving behind black flats on top of his own white flats to make it happen. 6 seconds. Misses the threat. He misses it. This is where white can now make a road by spreading up with the capstone stack. Does he see his own road? He has to, because I feel like dropping that e5 was like a planned thing that he did specifically to set up this road. No, he missed his own road. He missed it. It was a tricky one, though. Oh, black may have seen it because they've now defended against it. What a shame. That was a really cool road, too. It was a good one, nice and sneaky, which is probably why neither player saw it. Hold up. Black just made a road. White had the win. No way. Black makes the sneaky road after white missed their own road. Like just 2 turns later, that is absolutely brutal. And gotta be just killing MehrGills right now. That's a brutal end. Oh my goodness. But wow, well played to Spawnoza and to MehrGills. Both players, solid gameplay out of those guys. This was a really cool game to watch. That was a fun one. But congratulations to Spawnoza for winning game 2. You know what that means. Actually, you might not. I know what that means. What that means is they have each won one of their games in this 2-game match, and it is now tied 1-1. Now they need to go on to a blitz tiebreaker match. This is where they play with significantly less time, 3 minutes on the clock, 5-second increment, and they will play 2-game matches until one person wins both games in the blitz match. And then whoever does will move on to the finals. So that is exciting. But that is for another time. And that is all for today, because that's all we got. But thanks for watching, and be sure to check out the description below for all things TAC, especially the TAC Discord server, which is the community hub and where you can find all sorts of TAC resources like strategy guides and people to play with, whether that be right here on playtac.com or asynchronously through the Discord server itself. Tons of great players, tons of great resources there, so be sure to check that out, and until next time, have a great day and happy tacking.